Welcome back, everyone, to the program. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader, otherwise known as Jeff, as you can see over here in the corner, which is on this shoulder. So I can point right there, almost get it right. There we go. It's right here. Okay. So other stuff that's crawling across the bottom, please read that. It really helps out the channel. And also like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Watch the video. Please watch the video its entirety and leave a comment if you have any questions or want to see other follow-on videos. Helps out the channel, but the biggest thing you can do is like, share, subscribe. Helps out the channel, helps us defeat the YouTube algorithm, gets things out there, gets other people to see this content, really helps out. So with that said, I want to talk about today the big meeting. There's actually two meetings, and I've talked about the second meeting that's in this video. I'll share up here. But there's two big financial meetings this week. The big one that everyone's talking about is BRICS, and that starts on August 22nd in South Africa. And BRICS, if you don't know, for maybe you're new to the channel, so you have five countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And the meeting is in South Africa. Originally was scheduled for Durban for some reason, which is a coastal town on the eastern side of South Africa towards Madagascar. I don't know why. I have no idea why they would pick that place. Instead, it's at Johannesburg, which makes way more sense. I believe that's the capital city of South Africa. Everybody's going to be there except for Putin, who can't be there because of an international warrant. So he's going to be there virtually, but he's sending representatives there. In any event, there's two main things on the agenda, and that's what people want to talk about. And I'm going to relate all this back to Bitcoin in a moment. So stay with me on this. So the first thing is they're talking about a new world currency, and there's many thoughts about it being gold-backed now because lots of these countries own a lot of gold. Second, and they've hinted at it too. There's been Russian TV has been hinting at it, and there's lots of hints that are out there. The second thing is that there's lots of countries that are either trying to get into BRICS or signaling that they want to join. I don't want to say they've applied because there's no application process, and that's the other main agenda point at this conference is how do these countries get into BRICS? Because technically, I don't think there's a formal organization of BRICS. The BRICS got its name from, I think it was a writer about 10, 15 years ago who talked about the 4 or 5 biggest economies that were going to emerge, and Brazil, Russia, India, and China were on the list. So he made this acronym BRIC, and then they added the S for South Africa to make it sound better to be BRICS. Now, you can make cases for India not really being a loose member and South Africa being a smaller member, and maybe Saudi Arabia becoming the S as they want to join. But the main gist of this is that there's no formal organization and there's nothing to apply to, and because of that, but lots of countries want to join. And so there's no defined definition, not defined definition, but there's no clear definition of what it is to be a BRICS nation or a member of BRICS, because there's nothing to be a member of. Is it a trade union? Is it beyond that? Does it involve military alliances? That's a big concern for a lot of other things like NATO and the UN and all these other countries that are not part of this yet, but are thinking about it. So those are the two main points. And that had me thinking and doing even more research this week in advance of this conference. And it got me to think that maybe they walk before they run. And I think what they're going to do, and this would not surprise me at all. And again, we're going to relate this back to Bitcoin in a moment, so hang with me. I think they're going to make a token rather than a currency. Okay, and that token is going to be gold backed. It's going to be a gold token, and the gold will represent gold reserves. Now I'm going to share a screen here. Let's see. It's this view. This is a prettier page. It's really a chart much like this. This is the gold reserves of the countries in metric tons. You see the U.S. is way high. China is not first, even though this is official holdings of gold. So I'm going to just highlight, you got Russia and China in the top 10. India is just outside, maybe 1, 2, or 5. Let's go to here because they're numbered over here. So India is number 9. So now you got Russia, China, and India. So now you're looking for Brazil and South Africa. So Brazil is 28 with 130 metric tons. And South Africa is just a couple stops behind. Oh, they were tied with Iraq. I'm like, where did it happen to 29? 31 South Africa, 125 metric tons, or about $7 billion worth of gold. So, all right, now there's lots of other countries that have expressed interest, like Egypt and Iraq, that are around where South Africa and Brazil are in this list. There are other countries that are interested, but not as high, like I think UAE, and I can go further. Let's see, let's go further. let's see. Afghanistan was on this list somewhere, but yeah, they're only at 21, 22. Okay. So what, let me drop out of this. Okay. So let's just suppose, what if these BRICS nations create a formal alliance just for trade, and they don't make a currency, but they make rules to apply and join. And one of those rules are that you have to have 100 metric tons of gold. Okay, maybe it's lower, maybe it's a little bit lower, but Mexico's about there, Brazil's there, South Africa is there. A couple of countries are just outside that could get there. What that's going to do is create a demand. I think it's going to be I think 100 tons would be about right, because that's going to create, there's only like 40-ish countries. I'm looking at the list again. I'll share it again. Here we go. And then scroll up. Let's see what that 100 line is, because these are numbered. So if it was 100 tons, 36 countries would be across that line, and 48 to 49 would be in the ballpark of 50. Okay, so maybe 40 to 50 countries would be about the number. So maybe they set it between 50 and 100. But I think they would set it at 100, because what they would want to do is create demand for gold. So now we have, in this economy that's we're dealing with in the last couple of years, we've seen certain things hold value better than others. All right. Bitcoin's been up and down. Yes. But if you go back to 2020 to now, Bitcoin's done well. Gold has done well. Precious metals have done well. Most everything has started to crumble in one way, shape, or form. The stock market has done well, but that's kind of in terms of dollars. Okay. The dollar has done well in terms of other currencies too. The point is that right now, with the way that the fiat currency system, the financial system that's debt-based, and the bond markets are starting to implode, the fiat currencies are starting to implode. Real estate was one of the less safe harbors. That's starting to implode. All that's been left now are precious metals and Bitcoin, the safe harbors for storing your value. So now what do you do? So now so the powers that be, keep in mind what they want to do. Now they have a lot of purchasing power. Okay. Think, I hate that I can't say certain names on YouTube, but you could think of a really dark stone, like companies like that. I don't think they'll flag Vanguard, but we'll see. But big companies that own a lot of stuff, they have a lot of purchasing power. Okay. A lot of it might be tied up in the stock market or whatever, but they have purchasing power. The point is that they have a lot of ability to manipulate either Bitcoin or precious metals. Now, through the options markets, JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon have done a great job of holding silver down. Gold has pretty much been held down. But gold, if you look back for the last couple of years, been between 1,900 and $2,000 the whole time. Maybe it's dropped like 5% of value, but look at inflation compared to that. It's done pretty well against inflation. Now, Bitcoin's been held down and been kind of trending in that 25 to 35 range for what seems like forever, since it hit its big peak back at 69 or 70K. And they're holding it down. They're holding both these things down. So now, like they keep using these FUD stories, these different stories to get you out of crypto, or these regulation hints, or FTX, or Mt. Gox, or whatever stories that they can trudge up and say Bitcoin is bad, XRP lawsuits, you name it. They will try and stomp on crypto. And they did the choke point 2.0, making it very hard for you to buy cryptocurrencies. I think I just heard in the UK that PayPal isn't stopping the ability to buy Bitcoin. They're cutting it off as best as they can. So now, like, the two safe harbors of cryptocurrency, mostly Bitcoin, and your precious metals, mostly gold, they've been held down. Now we're about to go into a BRICS conference where we may see a huge demand come out of there for gold, because now we have other countries that are going to want to join, and now they're going to know what the ground rules are. So, we got to get to 100 metric tons of gold. And some of them may be at 40 or 50, but now they can spend billions of dollars into gold, which is going to drive the price and demand up. So now one of those safe harbors, the price is going up. Now, if gold goes up, expect Bitcoin to go up as well. So they can't hold that down forever either. So I think that Bitcoin is about to go up, because it's going to be one of the last safe harbors for fiat currency to escape to and value to escape to while this debt system, the bonds and real estate continues to lose more and more value every week. So that's my thought. That's what I think that's going to happen at BRICS. So the demand for gold will go up because it'll be a token. They won't compete against the dollar because it won't truly be a currency to be a token. They may make it more transparent on a blockchain, again, because it's a token. They may use it for the trade too, but walk before you run. Don't announce a currency. Just say, here's how you join. Go get some gold. And maybe they turn it into tokens as membership, whatever. But so one of the key takeaways of the conference will be to increase the demand for gold. That will increase demand for gold across and then drive the price up. So what will happen as a consequence of that is that countries that think like, we can't get to 100 metric tons, now they're going to look at El Salvador again and say, remind me how you got to that Bitcoin plan. Because remember, a year and a half ago, I think it was almost 2 years now, El Salvador switched over to Bitcoin. And then last year, like 44 nations visited them and say, tell me more about your plan. And those were mostly smaller countries like the Central African Republic who adopted that plan. So now you have 2 countries that do Bitcoin as their main currency. So what could happen is that you'll have on the world stage, you'll have for the first time 3 official trade unions. You'll have the SWIFT system that uses the dollar. You'll have the Bitcoin nations like El Salvador and Central African Republic. And you'll have the BRICS Plus nations that will be using a gold token. So now you have gold, Bitcoin, and the dollar, the debt system of fiat, all competing against one another all at once. Countries will look to say, which one of these can we join? Can we, maybe they can be more than one, but for the most part, they're going to have to pick and choose which one they're going to be. It's going to be fiat-based, gold-based, or Bitcoin-based. If they can't get to the gold, or they can't get to the 100 tons, then they're probably going to go to the Bitcoin. And you'll see more and more countries, because not only that, but they'll be able to get into Bitcoin. They'll put their cash reserves to take the fiat instead of buying gold to get to that level for BRICS Plus. They'll buy Bitcoin instead, and that'll be part of their plan. And say, well, as Bitcoin goes up, maybe we'll be able to buy more gold and buy our way into the BRICS Plus. That could be an option as well. But what also could very well happen is that they may see how well they perform with Bitcoin and say, maybe we're not interested in switching to a gold backed and we like Bitcoin better. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. I would not be surprised at all if we see a gold minimum to join BRICS Plus, and they don't make it a currency, they make it a token to not compete directly with the dollar. So what are your thoughts? I'm looking forward to reading all your comments below. Again, please like, share, subscribe, get this out there. It really helps out the channel. I would love to get your feedback on this theory. We'll know soon enough. Maybe we'll hear it this week. Maybe we won't. They won't necessarily make this kind of announcement. I don't know. But who knows what they're going to announce in Johannesburg this week. And as I mentioned before, up here, you'll find out more about the Jackson Hole meeting, which happens right afterwards. And if you made it this far, hashtag Jackson Hole in the comments. So with all that said, I'm going to close the door in the bureau, say follow leader, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.